April 30th, 1945. Above ground, Berlin is burning. Soviet shells are falling every few seconds. The city that was once the heart of the most powerful empire in Europe is now a graveyard. But underground, 50 feet beneath the chaos, one man is still giving orders, still believing he can win. That man is Adolf Hitler. And today we go inside his final hours. The Führer bunker was not just a room. It was an entire underground world. 18 rooms, its own water supply, its own power generator, built to survive anything. By April 1945, around 30 people were living down there with Hitler, his generals, his secretaries, his personal staff, and Eva Braun, the woman he had kept secret from the world for over 12 years. But despite the thick concrete walls, everyone inside knew the truth. The war was over. Germany had lost. The only question was, what would Hitler do? Hitler woke up late, as he always did. He had barely slept. The night before, he had already made his decision. He called his secretaries, Trottel Junge and Gerda Christian, and handed them capsules, cyanide pills, his farewell gift. One of his secretaries, Trottel Junge, later said, and I quote, she felt ashamed, not scared, ashamed, because in that moment, she realized she had served a monster, and the monster was saying goodbye. At around 1 p.m., Hitler had his last meal, spaghetti with tomato sauce. Simple, quiet. His hands were shaking. They'd been shaking for months, a sign of Parkinson's disease that he tried to hide from everyone. After lunch, Hitler gathered everyone in the bunker. One by one, they lined up. He walked down the line, shaking hands, saying nothing meaningful, just goodbye. Eva Braun was smiling. People who were there said her calmness was the most unsettling thing of all. Martin Bormann, one of Hitler's closest aides, wrote in his diary that day, the mood was like a funeral that hadn't happened yet. At around 2:30 p.m., Hitler and Eva Braun went into his private study. The door closed. Outside the door, his staff waited. Some were crying. Some were staring at the floor. Then, a single gunshot. Silence. They waited a few more minutes. Then Bormann opened the door. Hitler was slumped on the sofa. A gunshot wound to his right temple. Eva Braun was beside him. She had taken cyanide. Her lips were slightly blue. It was approximately 3:30 p.m. on April 30th, 1945. The most feared, most hated, most powerful dictator of the 20th century was dead. Not in battle, not fighting, alone, in a hole in the ground. His staff followed his final order, burn the bodies. They carried the bodies up to the garden of the Reich Chancellery, poured gasoline, and set them on fire. Soviet forces were just blocks away. The sound of artillery never stopped. For hours, the bodies burned while bombs fell around them. A few officers gave a final Nazi salute and walked back inside. 2 days later, on May 2nd, Berlin surrendered. The war in Europe ended on May 8th, 1945. The bunker was eventually blown up by the Soviets. Today, a parking lot sits where it once stood. There's only a small, plain information board. Almost nothing to mark what happened there. Hitler's last day tells us something important. Every empire built on hate, fear, and destruction ends the same way. Alone, underground, in silence. He had dreamed of a 1,000-year Reich. He got 12 years, and his last view of the world was the ceiling of a bunker. If you found this story powerful, hit that subscribe button, because we cover the real, unfiltered stories of history that most channels won't touch. Next video, we're going inside the last days of another fallen empire. You won't want to miss it.